There are times in a nation's history when its strategic elites and decision makers must take it upon themselves to carry out a long view analysis of the country's strategic priorities, trajectories, dilemmas, and choices. India's foreign and security policies seem to be at a major crossroads today for a variety of reasons, and therefore it must take a step back to think hard on what to do next. Here is why I say so. India's continental strategy seems to be in deep disarray today, notwithstanding the fact that the strategists in New Delhi have almost always, through the country's independent history, pursued a continental grand strategy. Maybe grand strategy is an exaggeration, be that as it may, but the focus was clear. Kashmir, Pakistan, and China, they were the conflict zones, and generations of Indian decision makers have been preoccupied with the northeastern and northwestern landmass of this country. This has certainly been at the cost of sufficient focus on a properly thought out maritime strategy for the country. In fact, Indian strategists were routinely accused of suffering from sea blindness. Cut to the present. Why do I say that our continental strategy is in deep trouble? Consider the following. China has begun to push the boundaries with India, literally so, and from the looks of it, Beijing is neither keen on ending the stalemate nor reinstating the status quo as of March 2020. India's line of actual control with China is not going to be the same again, ever. Lives have been lost, shots have been fired, and forces have been amassed. On the other side, the Pakistan front has also heated up. Pakistan has released a new political map claiming all of Jammu and Kashmir, has increased the heat on the line of control, and its main preoccupation today is to Kashmir shame India. The geopolitical collusion between China and Pakistan is more evident and dangerous for India today than ever. The extent, intent, and longevity of this collusion will determine the nature of the great game in the Himalayas for a very long time to come. The American withdrawal from Afghanistan and the eventual return of the Taliban to Kabul will further checkmate India's continental strategies towards Central Asia. Needless to say that the less than better relations between New Delhi and Tehran will contribute to the dampening of India's mission Central Asia. I am not even going to discuss the impact of Nepal's cartographic aggression towards India. In short, India's continental strategy is facing an existential dilemma. Where does it go from here? What should India do now? How long can a huge country like India be territorially hemmed in by its regional adversaries? Delhi needs to reimagine its strategies to A, get out of this nutcracker situation, and B, to seek ways to push back against the Chinese and Pakistani ganging up against India. So how do we do that? First, the unpopular solution. Deal with the 2.5 front situation by simply breaking it up. For that, New Delhi needs to A, pacify the internal situation in Kashmir, and B, reduce the pressure from across the border from Pakistan diplomatically or politically. But it has to begin in Kashmir. Unless Kashmir is at least partially pacified, Pakistan would have little appetite to reduce the cross-border heat in Kashmir. We know that. But here is the more important part of what New Delhi needs to do. Besides easing pressure on the Western Front, New Delhi must shift its almost exclusive focus from the continental sphere to the maritime sphere. It has been long overdue, and it's already too late to do so. But it is not impossible. Indian Ocean should be New Delhi's sphere of influence. Indo-Pacific should be the global mantra it must make use of. And Quad and such other institutional frameworks should be the vehicles for the implementation of this grand strategy. But then you might ask me, why have a maritime strategy when the real action is in the continental sphere? For one, unlike the continental sphere, where India seems to be in a sort of nutcracker situation, the maritime sphere is wide open and to India's advantage. Secondly, unlike in the continental sphere, there is a growing great power interest in the maritime sphere, especially with the arrival of the concept of Indo-Pacific. For instance, Germany recently released its Indo-Pacific guidelines following the example of France, which brought out its Indo-Pacific strategy in 2019. United States, having coined the term Indo-Pacific, has been increasingly focused on the region, and Australia, Japan and others have woken up the need to check the Chinese aggression in the maritime sphere in the broader Indo-Pacific region. This is when and where, therefore, India has a real opportunity to enhance its influence and potentially checkmate the Chinese ambitions in the region. Finally, the maritime space is a lot more important to China than its opportunistic land grab attempts in the Himalayas. Thanks to the massive Chinese trade that happens via the oceanic routes and the presence of the maritime choke points, which can potentially disrupt that trade. The time for procrastination is over for New Delhi. It needs to up the game if it has to address the Chinese challenge in a big way. Can the BJP government in New Delhi rise to the occasion and ideate, design and execute a maritime grand strategy for the country? Let's hope it can. Thank you for watching.
To receive instant updates on all videos from The Wire, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Pay to support independent journalism. Click the link in the description and choose the amount you want to pay.